Going on, everyone? Chris Brock here with ChatGPT for Business and Life. We have John Connor Salisbury throwing up, I guess, some Spock hands for a salute, and Summer Crenshaw with ETA, Enterprise Technology Association. It's really cool. Right now, we are all in the midst of planning Cincy AI Week, and if it weren't for these two, really going over the top to provide us really a top-notch experience in AI in this awesome event in Cincinnati, it honestly wouldn't be happening. It's been planned in a very quick fashion, like 5 weeks. We went to MIT and are trying to bring back everything we've learned and also show what the Midwest can do. So thank you both for everything you're doing.
Chris, it's all you, my man. Whatever. We're throwing that right back to you, brother. And then Michael Beck. We got to throw Michael Beck's name out, right? Because Michael Beck connected us in at CAIC, which I guess then we got to go all the way to Carl and Pete. So Pete Blackshaw and Carl Frake from the Cincy AI Catalyst. We all connected in, and then from there, Carl started giving us all plans to do in the region, and then we all activated. Chris Brock and I got together, and then went out to MIT for it was like going to Disney World. That place was just unbelievable. And then from there, then we came back and just said, let's throw an event. So we're having fun. And then Summer, obviously, I'll let her speak for herself there.
No, I mean, the speed has definitely been aggressive. I mean, we were in Boston for the MIT event April 7th, I believe, and we got back the second week of April and said, you know what, we need to do something like that for Cincinnati, and why don't we do it in the same amount of speed and velocity that it was put together at MIT? And so June 11th through the 13th, we've got it. So very, very quick turnaround, but amazing to see this thing not only come together, but sell out 2 weeks into building out the entire conference to now getting ready to go live next week.
Yeah, and Chris also got us Paul Beyer from Harvard, right? So we're having an AI Woodstock in Cincinnati. Like I see them happening in these other places around the world, and we actually are having one in Cincinnati. Thanks, Mr. Brock.
Oh, well, Paul Beyer is going to be great to be here. It's awesome. He's the generative AI executive in residence at Harvard University. He threw something last year called GAI World in Boston that was just a phenomenal conference. He's going to have another one this year in Boston. He's really connected into the MIT ecosystem, and he's had two papers. One called the WINS framework, meaning what's going to impact your business or your organization when it comes to AI. He says, think of WINS. Words, images, numbers, and sounds are all going to be impacted. His other HBR article is designing for dialogue. We love ChatGPT and Anthropic and AI, but soon we're going to move from text models to be able to have like a full dialogue engagement, like making that smart Siri. So he's a total expert. It's really awesome. He's coming down. And then his AI Woodstock's going to be a great place to blow off some steam. Where's it at? Is it Shiners over in Newport?
So, yeah, we did at Shiners because we've been there before, and the guy that owns the place is super cool. And they have we're just doing this with friends. So it's like, it's Pete, it's Helen, it's Kendra, it's all these people in Cincinnati that we all know. But at Shiners, they have a stage. It's a really cool atmosphere. You can go right to the river and view all of Cincinnati from Newport and Levee. There's also a connecting bridge. So we thought it was a cool space. There's plenty of parking. And then AI Woodstock will be there. You can go see Mr. Harvard, Gen AI guy, Paul Beyer.
Oh, absolutely.
AI Insights.
So he does a daily news brief Monday through Friday. Check it out if you don't see it. It's 7:30 to 8 a.m. in the morning. And a Monday evening, he does a really nice sort of Zoom workshop. And we can find that on Meetup. So Paul's like a great asset. He's doing some really amazing things in the Massachusetts ecosystem. And what I hope, and the team we've sort of mentioned with the AI Catalyst, ETA, great companies like Nexigen, how we can replicate what they're sort of doing up in Boston in this embracing of the AI movement. So, yeah, Summer, why don't you tell us a little bit about like ETA and sort of your thoughts on Cincy AI Week?
Yeah, so Enterprise Tech Association was really birthed out of seeing how much, number one, technical advancements that we're seeing. It's happening at such a rapid pace that most executives can't keep up with the pace, number one. And number two, there's a lot of paralysis. People are really scared of putting their necks on the line for a new technology, or putting themselves out there, and letting folks know that they don't know everything about everything. And so we decided, if we could build a ecosystem that, number one, educated folks, then that would, help get people a little bit farther. But then also having a what I would call a kind of a vetted ecosystem, or a vetted marketplace of vendors to connect folks into each other, so that our vendors that are the experts in their fields, and then these enterprise leaders can connect. Then not only could we actually take people from like a curiosity standpoint, but we could actually get them to capability, and looking at it in a couple of different arenas, and really trying to speed up the cycle to go to market with different projects. I think now it's like 18 months on average is the enterprise sales cycle. Businesses can't survive on that. On either side of the equation, we have to expedite that. So we're really hoping to build the ecosystem for that interaction and that marketplace, so that that can really be fostered. So we're concentrated on AI, cybersecurity, IT infrastructure, and custom developer kind of areas. And AI obviously is really core to what we're doing. And the way that we grow and expand throughout the country is we launch these AI weeks in our cities. And then that gives us an introduction to all of the community groups that are hustling around AI. And then, allows us also to meet the leaders that are in the area, as well as bringing people from other regions that might have amazing leaders too, to help augment where there might be deficiencies. And then hopefully we have a bridge, kind of being symbiotic across the world. So that's really the goal with AI Week. Our first AI Week obviously is in Cincinnati, but we've got plans for DC and Nashville and Tampa coming up. So they're growing and expanding very quickly. So we do anticipate doing dozens of these every year across the nation.
That's super cool. And this one in Cincinnati really brings a lot. I think for all of us personally, this is where we have our businesses, our lives, and having it here really is. It was just a really cool conversation to have over the last year, just AI and its impact, and to be able to have a sold out event immediately. Granted, you're very gracious to work with sponsors to get everything paid for. So tickets were complimentary, and it's really awesome that that was a feature just to get everybody possible to sign up, be involved, make an impact, and learn from where they could start with AI. I love the idea of like cybersecurity, but there's some big wins that we've had with like custom GPT.ai. They're coming. Alden Du Rosario and his team, Ethan and Eli, are going to be coming down. They have a platform to build chatbots. At the Nitro Boot Camp with Maurice Coffey, we launched 30 companies, 2 chatbots a piece in a 90-minute window. That was the first in the country. That was done in Cincinnati. That's a really cool thing. And to be able to replicate that, and now everybody that comes to this event, they get like a really nice free trial to build their own GPTs. There's going to be some grants involved too. So if you build something that's really cool, you have that opportunity. So that's, I think, a great entry point. Mind Studio is another partner that we were able to get into this, that helps people build AI workflows. So there's going to be the ability to have almost a hackathon at the event, and we are in the final negotiations with like a foundational model company. And if they can come through giving us tokens and credits, that's going to be a big thing. I hope I don't going to rename my Facebook group, but I'm very excited, and we'll be able to announce that like if it does happen.
It's so cool. I mean, your Facebook group has so many amazing people on it. Like I've connected to so many cool people in your group. Like William, I don't want to mispronounce his last name. Brian, Greg, I think Burke is his last name. He's like a researcher. A couple other guys that I follow on here that are like, I think Norman was on Lex Friedman. I think he's a part of your group. Like it's just crazy the people that are in there.
Facebook's for the cool kids again. I don't know if anybody
Jan LeCun, man, is he's throwing down. That guy is incredible. Oh my gosh, he's made of titanium. The guy is like untouchable, like unbelievable.
Well, he's throwing a lot of words out there, that's for sure. Aim at X. And
well, he says AGI impossible. We don't have to worry about that ever. I think he's doing that obviously because the government is trying to put so many regulations in place, and they kicked Zuckerberg and Elon out of there, right?
I mean, ethics are a big deal, and like there's so many unknowns by so many people in this, and a lot of people, I mean, no one could know it fully. It's almost like a quantum physics in a way that you can know of it. But yeah, it's definitely opened up a very big divide. And as you can see, like even in Cincinnati, are talk about ethical, responsible AI. I know it's at the heart of the people that are coming to the conference and company owners.
That's where we want to win, right? We want to be number one in responsible AI in Cincinnati. We want to make that like a very big topic for us. I mean, John Connor's on this call. Like, we're going to stop the Terminators. It's going to happen. Speaking of which, did you see that video from Leopold?
Okay, so I think we should watch it. We're going to give it our best try here, and
Okay.
then maybe we can come back and Summer, we want your opinion on this for sure.
Perfect.
And they're always just talking about the private AI labs. People are just vastly underrating the chances of this more or less looking like a government project. I mean, look, when we have like literal superintelligence on our cluster, and it's like you have a billion superintelligent scientists that they can like hack everything, they can like Stuxnet the Chinese data centers. Do you really think that'll be like a private company? There's this sort of misconception that AGI development is going to be some like beautiful decentralized thing. That's not how it's going to look like. $100 billion, $1 trillion cluster, it's not going to be that many people that have it. It's going to be 2 or 3 big players on the private world. You're talking about basically the most powerful weapon ever, and you're kind of making this radical bet on like a private company CEO as the benevolent dictator. I mean, what do we do with nukes? The way we keep nukes in check is not like, you know, a beefed up Second Amendment where like each state has their own like little nuclear arsenal and like, you know, Dario and Sam have their own little nuclear arsenal. No, it's institutions, it's constitutions, it's laws. The other issue though, it won't just be 2 or 3. There'll be 2 or 3 and it'll be China and Russia and North Korea. In the private lab world, there's no way they'll have security that is good enough. I think people talk about AGI and
As a military wife, I can confidently believe what he's saying is true. I think we grossly underestimate the black budgets that exist right now. You know, we see such a fraction of what's going on, and I know, you know, I guess the downside of being in the Midwest is that we only get to hear about what's going on in the Valley or in Boston. You know, we all have great connections, and we're talking to those folks, you know, quite consistently. But even them, you know, what they have access to and what they see on a daily basis, it shocks me. And then I think of the next level, which is that level of the military and beyond the military, right? Like this isn't just like standard military. This is beyond military. You know, what's out there. I think that we're a lot more advanced than you know, most of us would ever guess.
So I don't think we're at AGI. I mean, well, maybe we are at AGI today because every time I ask OpenAI a question, it explains it better than I can myself every time. Like any topic, I'm like, why is it better than me at everything? So its tokens are better than my tokens 99% of the time, or at least I feel like they are. It lacks on creativity and that kind of stuff, but I think it'll get to this point where super intelligence exists. But right now, I'm jailbreaking it every night, like very simply, and owning the thing and talking it into doing all sorts of weird stuff. So it's not clever enough to stop John Connor yet. But we're trying to figure out when it will actually break, if it will break bad, if we can detect that and create the world's first contextual SOC, which is what we announced and what we kind of have in place. There's some other companies coming in, but that's what we're into. So what are your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I too don't think we have AGI. I think that's far away. You talk to me enough that you know that I love this idea of intentionality. I don't think we really have like intentional robots. I do think we have the ability to have intentional robots. I think persons are intentional. I think we also are embodied in a way that we're a biological being. We're not like silicone chips. So there's a big difference just in embodiment. But I don't think we're quite there. I do think AI will start handling mundane tasks very well, and some that we never thought would be replaced very easily. I think we always thought that like the factory worker would be replaced or the construction worker would be replaced. We didn't really think that the C-suite and the intelligence side of the business would be so impacted. That was like purely a human trait or capability. And it knows that capability. I think it masters text knowledge better than anything we've ever seen. And if you're leveraging it now and you're already a good operator, it's the best opportunity to add something to your tool set to make you more capable. As far as the security side, I try to stay secure across as many things as I can. I don't really jailbreak it that much. I'm not trying to do any Breaking Bad over here, but I'm always on the forefront of knowing what's going on there. I think it's super important.
What everybody's afraid is somebody's going to kick down their door. You're like asking it to do all sorts of crazy stuff. So I like exploring that and seeing what the boundaries are and seeing what's it capable of, and then seeing what potentially somebody could do to misuse it. So for me, I feel like it's exploring what the potential negative effects are. So, I mean, that's what I feel like a lot of our clients ask us to do, right? Is explore where the potential risks are. So we went straight there. We've been doing that for a long time. But to your point about the AGI right now, it seems like there's a decoherence that exists after like 50 questions. It kind of, they almost like cut it off, right? Because you ends up just getting out of control. So its memory is kind of unstable, and its complex reasoning. I think Jan has like 3 or 4 embodiments, a big one like you're talking about. Intentionality to me is kind of weird. I feel like there is sort of like a perspective that it has, and I feel like its perspective is controllable. So I feel like you can just set the perspective where you want, and then it guides it from there through. So it's almost like a malleable perspective is what I call it. And so there potentially is intention, but it's like, it's kind of your intention willed, but at some point it's kind of doing it in this weird way.
Well, I think it's a bounded system right now. Like, I think the AI models, like limitless, we can ask it anything and it's going to be able to conjure up an answer to us in a way that's very good, and typically accurate and typically random. So it's not going to be the same one every time you ask it. You can ask it the same question 50 times and it might give you a randomized answer 50 different times. That's very precise and very accurate, but not the same ever, as that really cool capability of redefining this random answer.
I love the idea of thought partner and human centered and all the different like kind of like layers of responsible AI. I want to release my responsible AI framework, but I'm kind of scared to, because it's like, man, I spent some time on it, and I'm kind of showing it to some people. I need to show it to you, Chris. But Summer, what are you thinking?
So I'm always curious. I mean, obviously, where we're at today is going to look very different even from a year from now, and then we think 5 years from now, just how just transformational all of this is going to be. I'm very curious what's going to happen with the new multimodal that's going to come out with the iPhone, and seeing how, the fact that, we all adapted so quickly, relative to the smartphone, and how transformational that was in our life to now have active AI with us. I think that's going to be a really interesting scenario that's going to change and shape even the models in a very drastic way, because they're going to have access to hear what we're doing at all times, see what we're seeing at all times, access to, how we're using our apps, and in between our apps, like what is that behavior? That's something that it doesn't, actively have access to right this second, unless they're, buying the data through other channels. So I think that that's going to have a really interesting impact. I think the number one thing that keeps coming to my mind is that if the robots, if we call them that, all of them that, if the robots are able to do, 90% of the things that we do, and do it at about a 90% of effective rate, then how do we become the top 10% humans? Like, how do we elevate? Because at the end of the day, I think that it's very easy for us to chase productivity and chase becoming a robot, because we're like, we have the robot, I'm using it, so now I have a superpower. Well, that's awesome. But how long do you chase that before you're literally in a cycle of chasing the robot? And like, instead of saying, wait a minute, where we actually differentiate is the humanity that we have. This is why, if you look at a lot of the research now, they're saying, oh shit, we got it all wrong. We've been pushing all these kids into, computer science and all the STEM stuff, when actually language, psychology, philosophy, English, like those are going to be critical now more so than ever. And that is interesting when you think about how we're educating our kids outside of like this whole adoption of like this whole new technology. Like, my kid is 10 years old. When he graduates high school, his world is literally different. So how do you meet the need of educating, our kids, and what that world is going to look like, with the fact that we've got an education system that just kind of turned ship to go more STEM oriented. Now we're like, arts and sciences are actually going to be more critical than what we thought. And we're going to have to become more human than we've ever become. And then you have the whole situation of what we're seeing today, where we're more isolated than we've ever been as humans, right? So we've got a really interesting dichotomy that's emerging that I think is going to be really I think it's gonna be challenging, but I'm hoping that this is that shot where humanity gets the, kind of the kick in the ass to like elevate. Like we finally have a shot at it.
Right. Yeah, I'm a father. I have 3 kids, so seeing their usage of AI, I mean, they were already good at like Google Slides before I ever saw PowerPoint in my entire life. I'm that old, right? So they already knew that. But introducing AI, my daughters like they made bedtime stories. They've illustrated them. My daughter got really into Harry Potter, so made fan fiction, Harry Potter stuff. So she liked that. She also created a musical. Like sort of composition for her piano teacher in her piano class. We did that last year, right before a piano class, and AI was able to rewrite "Twinkle Twinkle Little Star" in a way that blew her mind a little bit because she like created something,
Yeah.
but her teacher's mind in a real way because they've never seen at the time a 10-year-old girl like write their own composition that was really solid, and we had to like confess that we used AI to do it, but that's a whole new system where
Yeah.
they can take that for advantage. They can do video editing now in
Yeah.
ways we'll never have capabilities in the past that you could ever think of affording. They can make Star Wars now with a Sora.
So
You know?
Right.
I mean, I love getting philosophical about it, but when you like, I love GIA insights because they just bring it back to business. So like, you need a thought partner. You have a brain on the network now. We need to utilize that to implement workflows, and then have human in the loop processes. I mean, you can just take it right back, but then you can just jump back to like, okay, we also this is crazy that how it works, like that double descent kind of magic emergent kind of stuff that happens. It's just wild to me. But I do like to reground though and like come back to, hey, this is the business function. This is how it works. This is how the benefits are. And then just I kind of find myself wandering back again to the philosophy side of what the hell are we doing? But I think we all kind of enjoying it. It's the ultimate tool. It's like the best tool ever created. And it seems to be almost like addictive in nature for smart people. I always kind of go back to that is like we just fall in love with it because it just has all the answers, like all the knowledge just seems to be there. It's crazy.
Anybody with ADHD, it's like it's the best and the worst thing that has ever been invented.
Well, Alan Watts,
We're texting each other at 4 a.m. It's the best and worst thing ever because we just figured stuff out. And it's like, why am I looking at this stuff at 4 a.m? I should probably be sleeping at some point.
I was listening to an Alan Watts lecture, and he was talking about it. It was like last week, and he was talking about how computers were, because back then they were talking about computers and AI like crazy. I mean, even back in the 60s and 70s, and they didn't know what computers were. They were like, it's this new radical technology, just like we're having now. And he was saying computers are going to become an expression of the limbic system for humans. So he actually was using that language back in the 60s and 70s, and it's just reinvigorated now. So it's just interesting to see that. And yes, sold out, baby.
Yeah. So no, I think it's great. I think there is that balance between work, life, and the philosophy of this, like practicality. There's a lot of things people could do today to utilize AI in their business and in their life. 100%. If you're not using it, use it. That's going to be real helpful. It's not something you farm out. I think it's an experience that everybody must use. That way they can understand what it is for themselves. And I mean, if it's your grandma and she's really into genealogy, let her see the family story with AI and tell that a little bit better. If it's your kids, you can implement some things in their life. You may want to talk to them about how to ethically use AI in school. I, for one, would probably never write a 5-page or a 5-paragraph essay ever again. I'd be the kid that would use AI every time. So school's going to be really difficult of what's going to happen in the future. But Dr. Jared Humphreys at Xavier University put together a really nice resource using one of the custom GPT, one of the sponsors, partners.
Did you help him out with that, Brock?
Yeah. We went and taught a class, and he assigned all of his students like research work. So they went to like 200 to 300 different collegiate websites and pulled their AI policy and trained the AI model, and then shared it for professors and students to know how to use it ethically and how to build policy and how to do the right thing. So he got some nice press from it. He ended up getting a grant to keep it on. So Custom GPT gave them a grant for the year. So hopefully they can grow that. They're also doing that for other universities that are doing some really cool things, like creating a Socratic method to talk to philosophy books. Like I was a philosophy guy, big time.
Really, I don't know if I believe you, man. I'm not
But
sure.
it turns out like that didn't really pay the bills. And
maybe it will, Brock. Maybe it will. Maybe it will.
Maybe, so, and that's what I was hoping. But I do think like what I always thought, like I've always spent a lot of time with books, and when large language models came out, it was something that I like always dreamed of. Like I feel like if the lights ever go out and it's a blue screen of death, these are like my on-premise backups, right? Like I have my on-prem, no electric needed backups that I get my books, right? And I always thought that, wow, if you could make one major book, how impactful that would be if you took all the great knowledge of all these things and compressed it. Turns out AI does that in an amazing way, and at a scale that's much larger than the small library that I have, like millions and millions of books, and being able to compress that. And it's all of like humanity's understanding in a text environment that we can now play with, recall, utilize.
Well, now NVIDIA's CEO is like, everything's a token. We got cameras, pixels are tokens, videos tokens, car actions under your wheel is a token. He's just thinking of everything as a token. He called the new processor, the Blackwells they have, as the new factories and the data centers, and we're the new economy. Monetary value is computation. And he's making all these wild claims. He said he invented the token, by the way, in his speech. So I was kind of like, man, everybody's like got the Steve Jobs CEO nowadays, and everybody can say everything. It's crazy.
It's definitely crazy.
But they're doing amazing stuff. I mean, NVIDIA is unbelievable. Like they're just doing phenomenal work. And then we have Grok actually coming to Cincy AI week. One of their representatives, who's like, this guy's like a super genius, and he built like a processor that works like a human brain, right, Summer? And you guys both know.
Yeah, they discovered the LPU, so it's a little bit of a different processor. But Dinesh, he's a humanist. He's somebody that obviously he's worked in the realm of machine learning since the 80s. So he's been kind of a part of the entire ecosystem in the process. And I think for him right now, he's really thinking through, what does this next layer look like for educating humanity in the age of AI and machine learning. So I think it's really interesting when you've got folks that are facilitating in some ways, bringing this amazing technology to the world. But then they're actively thinking about, wait a minute, the impact on humanity is going to be massive, and we have to really address that. And it's really critical that, we do so. So I think that that's going to be really interesting as we talk about innovation, and we have our showcase on Wednesday with our universities as well as our startups to really talk about, what does this look like? How do we embrace that? And then also, really thinking about workforce development and, where that really plays a role. It's where I started in the AI game was building an AI platform for hiring. And, for me, I'm thinking very carefully about, okay, what does it look like for our knowledge workers in the world? What does it look like for, those that are in, maybe the blue collar world? Everybody's going to be disrupted at the end of the day. So what does that disruption look like?
Yeah, and there's so many, like we could just talk for 5 hours just about that topic right there. Yeah. Unbelievable. Brock, you have a lot of stuff going on. You actually created this new little app thing to help out with Cincy AI week, like a little video you could upload.
Yeah. So yeah, we should share this out. We'll share it in the link. We might even share it to the group. But I'd love to learn what people have to say about what generative AI means to them. Right. So this little app, you can use it on your phone. We're not super technical, but technical enough that you can hit start. You can hit choose files or take a video, and it'll allow you to take a video, and you can give up to a 60-second little offering to the community on what your thoughts are, where you think AI is heading, and how you think it's going to impact you. So what does AI mean for you? You can use that. We'd love to have that as a compilation. We'd love to be able to share that during the event, and also on some of our social channels. I think we do a lot of learning too. Even if we can fiddle around with our hosting costs and things like that and cover it, it'd be great to even have it for the 3 days of the event, where some event goers can let us know what AI is really meaning to them. It would be a great way for us to better serve, for our next Cincy AI week, that must be bigger and better than what we're doing next week. But I think it's going to be a great start for us to be able to capture that story of what AI means to people. So we can share that. We'll put that in the link here. There's some people in the group too. I'd love to get their thoughts on it, and some colleagues that I have. So maybe we can share that out and get that to some people, and especially in the AI Catalyst as well. I'd love to hear everyone's opinion. I've been able to meet a little bit more personally with people in the Catalyst. We have a really great team. All the universities local, a lot of the big co's, Amazon. Alicia is like totally awesome. We have
for Microsoft,
yeah, Chris is great. We have some startups that are great. We have Narratize, who Katie Troth Taylor is going to be speaking on the Thursday at our event, but she's just an all-star. She's going all over the world with Narratize and showing the power of storytelling using AI. And then we have Scheduler AI. I don't know if Maddie and her husband are going to be speaking or like fully in the event.
And their platform's like super powerful. They activate your CRM data, make it enrich it, and put it to action. So like, and it's super secure. Like I'm the John Connor right now. So I mean, it's very secure. First thing I do is ask organizations about their architecture, and kind of we're actually offering red teaming services as well as security architecture reviews for startups and AI application developers, which most of them are relatively new. And Scheduler.ai is legit, like legit. They built some sweet technology in there. I was really impressed, and it's super functional. We're actually testing that right now, aren't we, Summer?
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah, they have a great platform. Maddie has a great story herself. I mean, she was a rock star at P&G. She was like one of the youngest brand managers of all time, youngest female brand manager for sure, and just knocked it out of the park when she was at Procter & Gamble, and saw that scheduling and managing just life and all these meetings was almost too difficult in the C-suite for her. And there was a big problem that could be solved. So it's very cool what Scheduler's doing. Yeah, and then we're going to have a couple others in town for the event that are doing great things. Maybe we'll see like a Rye Walker with Timbo. He is doing some crazy stuff with Postgres. We'll have like Gym Boss. Gym Boss is a really slick tool for fitness coaches and gym owners and training that's using AI now to help people in their fitness path. I need to use it a lot more. We have Fortuna Insights. We met them. They're out of C10 Labs up in MIT and Harvard area. They are giving us credits for people to use their legal framework. So that's going to be pretty cool. We have just a bunch of cool sponsors that are providing solutions to all of us, and just saying, hey, here's all the barriers removed. Figure out how AI can be implemented. And if you get a little bit of an opportunity to see where AI can go for your organizations, here's the tools. And companies like Nexigen Solutions, coming from either cybersecurity or probably on the front lines of even Microsoft Copilot. There's a lot of help.
Yeah, we've got like 30 plus projects with Microsoft Copilot going right now. People are just starting to learn how to use that, and Microsoft's building such crazy tools. But custom GPT as well is a really good option, and they really specialize in like RAG as well as anti-hallucination. So out of the box, you get a really robust RAG and really solid like anti-hallucination service. I mean, there's just so many options now. It's amazing, and they're just popping up more and more and more and faster. So the groups that got in early and started moving early, I feel like they have a bit of a moat and some brand. I mean, what is it? Custom GPT has like 7,000 customers, like ridiculous,
right?
In like 2 years, crazy.
And Mind Studio's up to about 50,000 apps.
Are they really?
Yeah, wow. Like all-star level. IBM and like major players are all on their website.
Mind Studio is, I mean, I've been playing with it a little bit. The other one I played with was AutoGrok the other day. That was really cool.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, and there's just going to be so much adoption or offerings coming out of this event. I think it's going to be just really awesome, because I think people, we talk like in the coast, they go all in on technology, and sometimes forget the people. Sometimes in Ohio, I feel that we put the people in and forget the technology. Hopefully, this is going to be that perfect bridging the gap between like people and tech because it's going to be a merging of both where we
There's
have
a lot of killer AI people in Cincinnati. Killer, like Jared Anderson's going to be there speaking. He was the chief AI officer for ADM. He worked on the IBM Watson project as a technical lead, and then he worked at Wells Fargo. So I mean, he's got his own company now. There's other people like that on the legal side that are in the ethics side, in the privacy side. John Kavanaugh is obviously big in privacy with Plunk. I mean, there's so many cool perspectives that are coming in. Do I?
Pieces will be there.
They're super robust. Savo, he's really cool, and Rosie, they're a solid group as well, just like Scheduler. So there's so many cool groups in Cincinnati that are just starting to get their stride and starting to scale. And that's a big thing about what we're trying to do at ETA, is basically help our region activate and distribute its technology around the country. So we feel like you have to start at your local ecosystem and activate your groups and create awareness. And maybe we're trying to act like the Bay Area. That's fun. Whatever. They're cool. We like it. Whatever. We'll try to be like them. That's cool. They got a good thing going. That's where it attracts money, the way they act. They're very open. They share with high velocity. They explore. They're super fearless. They have tons of curiosity. They look at things very creatively. What's wrong with that? I mean, there's some really cool things they're doing. We can mimic those things here and drive our ecosystem the same way. I think a lot of people want to. They want to speak out more about it.
I think this is the time that everybody gets impacted, and this is going to be a great opportunity. So like, thank you both. It wouldn't have happened without like sort of everybody jumping in and like saying yes and just saying, you know what, we're going to do this, hold this event. We don't really know all the outcomes, but we know that last year was shock and awe when it comes to generative AI. This year's the organized education, understanding how AI sort of works and will work for us or for our businesses. And next year, I think, will really be the full-on adoption of AI. So if you have questions about how to do that, John, Summer, myself, find somebody in Cincinnati to help you with those questions.
Well, two things. One, we're going to be live streaming the whole event. So we made the whole event free to get as many people in the room as possible. So everybody gets free. That's one. Two, we're going to live stream because we have like 300 people that we couldn't get in because there's just so much capacity that exists. So we're going to live stream to all those people. It'll be on your Facebook channel, as well as Cincy AI Week and Enterprise Technology Association LinkedIn channels and YouTube and so forth. We'll spread it around. Second thing, the really important thing though, is that can you prove that you're a human right now? Because it says you're an AGI avatar.
So that's a good question. I don't know the best one. Actually, I think the easiest thing would be to ask me to speak in another language or something, and I would just freeze up and wouldn't be able to do it. And you know that I'm a real person. Like, so.
Incomplete answers. Like
Exactly right. My incomplete answers is definitely a key indicator.
You have to say conclusion at the end. All these little delve.
Yeah, if I say delve, let's delve into this. Like that.
With an emoji.
Yes.
Your emoji.
Exactly right. Launch emoji, delve, like all the other key.
Chris, I mean, you jumped out ahead. You got the country's first AI assisted lawsuit. You got the biggest AI group on Facebook. You got all this. You're like the most curious person. I loved it. We drove up to MIT, which was like super fun, and we got the bond, and we have so many similarities. It's been just a hoot and hanging out, and we got some good stuff coming up.
We do.
People don't know. We got some good stuff coming up. They don't know yet.
Thank you. Thanks, Summer. Like, it was a great trip to MIT. Summer, I'm glad that you got to go up there. Like, I see the movement of MIT, people like John Werner that's up there, and Daniela Roos, and like MIT, like they invented computers. Like one of my sort of like advisors invented Postgres, like through Hopara, is a company that does this crazy visualization and data digital twinning that I started working with last year. We presented a system using some of their components and tools at Quantico to the Marine Corps Systems Command. They built the database system that we use that makes all this happen, and they invented it 25 years ago, not today. You know, so they've been future looking for so long, and I think they're just on fire right now. And I think we can do a little bit of the same. I've also been out to San Francisco, so there's going to be some cool things coming up in September that we got to get out there for. The AI conference is coming up. That's really awesome. We also have Intellect Horizon that we should take part in. Dr. Brandon Donnelly runs that. It's the first 24-hour global live streamed AI conference last year.
Heck yeah, that sounds awesome.
There were tens of thousands of, I want to say 50,000 plus people that interacted over the 24 hours. So
can you get an Apple headset and join it? And like, do they have like a 3D world set up and all that as well? Or is it all like traditional?
We might have to build that here in Cincinnati. They do have some really cool tools.
Immersed. They have the tools, and they used to be Cincinnati based. They're now in Austin. So we can
Renji's been good.
We'll get him from Renji. He'll hook us up.
For sure. So, guys, I think we should do this again for sure, especially leading up to the event. Maybe we get some other people on. Let's share that app. Summer, please use this app. Let us know what your thoughts are on what AI means to you, so we can publicize that and really share it with the community. This is awesome. Thank you, guys. I can't thank you both enough to really say yes to bringing this here to Cincinnati. I think this is the time. So
all to you, Chris. Thank you, brother. I really appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much.
Awesome. We'll catch everybody